let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal! Go! 6! It's beautiful! Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Wake up and hit the ground running. It's The Rush, presented by Willis Auto, with Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bringing you raw, unfiltered, and unapologetic talk about sports, life, and everything else that matters. No filtered, no fluff, just The Rush.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along with us. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com, the Rush Radio Android app, or the TuneIn app, good to have you dialed in with us this morning. If you're watching on YouTube, a lot of activity already in the chat section. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, start leaving your comments in the comment section, and, of course, you can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. My name happens to be Travis Justice. His name happens to be Ross Peterson. And tell me this, Ross, as you look at me, do I look like a grandpa today? Do I just look like a grandpa today? I've got a sweater on. I've got the collared shirt underneath of it. I look like a high school history professor and a grandpa all wrapped up into one.
Well, yeah, it shows what kind of high school your kids went to that you call them professors. Yeah, you do kind of have that. You do kind of have that Mr. Rogers look to you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Beautiful day.
Could you be mine? Won't you be mine?
Won't you be my neighbor?
I haven't seen any of those movies. Have you seen any of those movies like the
documentary on them?
There's a documentary that's really good. That's right. Tom Hanks has one where he plays Mr. Rogers. Big fan. I've just never seen those movies. Probably should have watched one on a flight sometime. But
you know, because when I was growing up, Mr. Rogers was actually one that I enjoyed watching. I like it when they went to Make Believe Land or whatever they called it, where the train came in and they went to this fairy tale land. I forget what it was called.
Oh my gosh! All I can hear is a Bloodhound Gang song in my head. Knock, knock, Mr. Rogers. It's Mr. McFeely.
Oh, Mr. McFeely. Forgot about Mr. McFeely. Yeah.
Speedy delivery.
You know, I was never a Sesame Street
guy. The land of make-believe.
Look at you.
That's it. The land of make-believe. That's it.
Land
I knew
of
it was in
make-believe.
there somewhere.
Because he had the little train set that went through, and I was like, man, that'd be cool to have a little train set that took you off into make-believe land. My other one on public television, I was never a Sesame Street guy. Even though I watched it, I was an Electric Company guy. That's where I became. Morgan Freeman was on the Electric Company. Spider-Man was part of the Electric Company. So there would always be a bit on Spider-Man on the Electric Company back in the old days.
I don't remember the Electric Company. I remember Captain Kangaroo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And let's see, Fraggle Rock.
That's a little bit probably newer for me. I don't remember Fraggle Rock.
When was Fraggle Rock? Holy cow. I haven't thought of Fraggle Rock in a long time. Fraggle Rock was from, let's see, we're getting to the Wikipedia page now. Is it still happening? This was on Jim Henson. It was a Muppets thing. I didn't even realize that. Yeah. They had 96 episodes, but I can't see when it ran. 1983 to 87.
So 83, I would have been a teenager, and I probably wasn't watching, I was watching Revenge of the Nerds during that time, getting my first taste of boobies.
Okay.
You know.
It was on HBO, which is weird to me because I don't remember having HBO as a kid.
Maybe you did. Maybe you had more money than you thought when you were a kid, and you were subscribing to HBO. Mom and Dad had the HBO.
We did have a corner lot and an above ground pool. Not to brag.
Wow. Wow. You can't go wrong with that above ground pool.
Man, it was living in the lap of luxury when I was a kid.
That was
awesome.
Was your above ground pool? Did it have a deck around it? Were you able to?
It did.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, my dad built this unbelievable deck. Unbelievable. Like a 5-tiered deck. It was amazing.
So, question: once you surround the above ground pool with a deck, is it an underground pool?
I mean, it looks like a regular pool. It looks like an in-ground pool. Yeah. And ours was one of the ones that's like oval shaped. It wasn't just a round circle. It was oval. So it looked bigger too.
Because the deck essentially gave you a diving board as well, right? I mean, not that it was safe to do it, but it gave you a diving board. I kind of fell into the, if you put a deck around an above-ground pool, changes the perception of the above-ground pool altogether, and it looks like an in-ground pool. And, man.
I remember, I grew up with these brothers, the Child's boys, and they were brothers. They fought, you know what I mean? That we played sports together every day. And they inevitably, two of us would get into a fist fight, you know what I mean? We were boys. But the one I can remember was the day that the Pennick family moved in. One of the boys was chasing the other one with an axe.
That was commonplace back in the day.
I remember what brought it back was the deck, because at one point he actually tried to like swing the axe. I mean, it didn't come close to hitting his brother, but he hit the deck and it like broke a chunk off the edge of the deck. And that was the day that the neighbors moved in. And I remember they had a long time before they let their boys play with us.
Was it a long-handled axe or was it a short-handled axe?
It was a real axe.
Damn.
Real deal. My brother one time we had these baseball bats that you'd get from the Iowa Cubs for being a part of the Knothole gang. They were blue. And they had white writing on them that said Iowa Cubs and Louisville Slugger.
Was it a small bat or like a real size bat? It was a real bat.
Like a 26-inch wooden bat. You know what I mean? You could use it in the game if you wanted. So we would use that as part of our tennis ball baseball game in the front yard. Well, my brother, he's 4 years older than me, and Brad's a little bit of a wild child, okay? And Brad one day gets done mowing the lawn, and he's like, you know what? I got an idea. What if we poured some gasoline on the barrel of that bat and lit it on fire? And then throw me a pitch, and I'll try to hit the ball with the flaming bat. That's a memory. That's a memory. I think that was about the time that they moved in also. And they were like, I thought we came to a nice neighborhood. What is happening? Boys are chasing each other with axes, lighting bats on fire. Yeah. Welcome to the hood.
So you gave that blue bat kind of that nice burnt look, right?
I mean, remember that blue bat surviving well. That paint didn't even burn off.
You're like, the paint's not burning off. What is this paint made of?
Yeah, right. No, I don't remember that bat having any damage on it at all.
Think there's any lead in that paint that's keeping it from burning? Maybe just a little bit. Kids, don't chew on the bat. Whatever you do, don't chew on the bat. Wow. Yeah, setting the bat. You know, the dumbest thing I did when I was a kid. Well, I did a lot of dumb things when it came to like fire. And I know people still do it today, but you know, I would walk around with matches and take the aerosol can and create a flamethrower. You ever do that?
Oh, you mean you'd light the match and then spray the thing over the top of the flame? Yeah.
But you realize now that if that flame backfired and went into the can and blew up that can, you'd blow yourself up. You would do a lot of damage. But those are kids like fire.
We would have had a couple things. Tony writes in and says, man, that flaming bat in the axe episode, those would be viral on TikTok these days. Think of how many things we did as kids that would have gone viral.
About everything we did, right?
Building a ramp on a snow hill. Did you ever do that?
Oh, absolutely.
And then did you ever? I remember when Jeff Kloppenstein got a concussion. He went off the ramp and hit, and then of course no cell phones, so somebody had to run to Jeff's house and get his mom. Imagine that fear.
Yeah, and then 10 minutes later he felt better and he went back out and probably did the ramp again.
Probably.
I'm concussed, but damn it, I want to play with my buddies. I want to play with my friends. I want to give you a round of kudos because you practice what you preach. And I mean this sincerely. You've had strong opinions on the bond issue that's coming up, but you've also said, hey, if you're going to vote on this, become informed on it. And you've gone to a town hall meeting, and last night you sat on, I don't want to call it a webinar, but it was kind of a town hall Zoom meeting, and you participated in it. You asked tough questions, And I just want to commend you for practicing what you've preached. Instead of just going, I ain't voting for it, you get on there and you become, you ask questions, you want information. You're basically saying, change my mind, right?
I mean, trying. I really am trying. I'm trying. I want to give. Yeah, man, I want to learn. I like to learn things. I want to learn as much as I can about this thing. And Travis, the truth is always somewhere in the middle. It really is, man. We live in such a polarized world where people try to make you pick black or white. People try to make you do this with other people. Somebody is either good or bad. Well, they're both. They might lean one way. They might lean one way or the other, but that's important for you to understand why they are the way they are or something like that. And this issue is certainly one of those, man, where Des Moines Public Schools are in trouble. They're in big, big trouble. And we do need a strong public school system. It helps with home values. It helps with just the overall health of your community. Public schools are very important to a society, right? And our schools are in big trouble. They are way behind on performance. They're way behind on infrastructure. And something has to change with that, right? But dude, this is this latest conundrum that the DMPS has found themselves in. It's just a bad timing thing, in my opinion. What they're asking for is something that is needed. The timing of it is a giant no. The people that are in charge right now, I don't see how anybody can look around and go, "Yep, the fix here is more money." It ain't. I'm not, in my opinion, as learning as much as I can. My opinion is still, I'm voting no on November 4th for this bond referendum because there needs to be accountability for the current situation that the schools are in. Travis, right now there's a 72% graduation rate out of DMPS.
72%?
72% graduation rate.
So that's all the schools put together, right? So that's
yes.
Roosevelt, Lincoln, East, Hoover, North. Am I missing one?
Yeah, East, Roosevelt, Lincoln, North, Hoover.
Okay.
Do you know, take a guess at what because the national graduation rate and the state graduation rate are almost identical. Take a guess at what those numbers are.
I would say the national and the state graduation rate is 92%.
You're really close. It's 88. It's 88% of kids graduate on the national scale and in Iowa, and 72% graduate in Des Moines. And you talk to a lot of people in the district, and they'll say, it shouldn't be that high. We're forcing kids through. Talk to people that work just outside of public education, that work with kids that are falling through the cracks, and their parents go get them, and they'll say, these kids they're being lied to, parents are being lied to about their own reading skill levels because they're lowering the standards so that more kids can get above the bar. They're forcing kids through classes that shouldn't be, that they're making teachers pass kids that shouldn't be passing those classes, that should be held back. Again, no accountability. They want to spend a whole bunch of money to build all these new places, and they have no plan on how to keep the kids from destroying these new places. So, like, Travis, think when we're just talking about how when we were kids, the local park was open. When you went up to a baseball field, there were no chains on the gates. They didn't have everything locked up because
they wanted you to go out and play. They wanted you to be active. They wanted
green space. Go out there, kids. Go play double or nothing. Go out and enjoy the field. You will go past a little league now, and they are locked up. You go past a public school green grounds. They're locked up. Why? Well, because people destroy it.
Or if somebody gets hurt, they sued, and they don't want to get sued on it, right?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. It's a total lack of accountability. So this is it's weird that we are stuck in this kind of dichotomy of the schools are being overcrowded, but they're dropping enrollment. A couple hundred kids a year are leaving DMPS. They think,
and that's either going to a different district or just dropping out of school altogether, right?
Right. And there are people that say, well, that's because of the voucher system. Well, I think that's that's not the case. The voucher system has helped people to find a way to get out of DMPS, but people aren't leaving because of the money. People are leaving because of these reasons. They don't think their kids are getting a good education. And the voucher system exists because we had superintendents that played politics with the kids for years. For years. I watched it. The liberal agenda of the superintendents the last couple of decades have caused political enemies that then said, okay, if you guys want to play politics, if you want to fly your flags and make this all about agenda, we're going to get our kids out of there. And then they start pulling their kids out and everybody goes, well, you're only doing it because of the money. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing. It helped. It helped. That's not the genesis for people saying, I got to get my kids out of here. I'm a great example of it, dude. I bought this house because of DMPS. I bought this house in this location because of the path that my kids were going to have through the Des Moines public school system. I picked the 3 best schools that I thought that they could be in and bought a house where I knew they would be able to get all 3 of those schools. And now my daughter will never step foot in a public school. And that happened long before the voucher program kicked in, long before. It happened because I saw this stuff happening with my kids. And I went, damn, I got to get out of here. Got to get him out of here. Eli's got a great path. Eli's got a great group of friends. I'm not going to disrupt that. He's got a couple of years left, and I'm excited about that. But this school board, this public school system has a long ways to go to build back the trust that they need. They've mismanaged buildings. And then even in the conversations, Travis, there seems to be not a lot of consistency. You know, the school funding is very, very complicated. It's very complicated.
It's a weird algorithm that the state uses to fund schools, all that stuff. So you're getting some votes for school board. You need to run for school board, man.
Dude, you know, here's the deal. 2 things on that. I appreciate that. I do. And there are days when I think, you know what, I need to. But most of the time I think I can't. And there's several reasons why. Number one is and I know everybody's busy. I'm a single dad with 2 careers. The timing of it is really hard for me to do. Again, I have a son that in 2 years will not be in Des Moines Public Schools anymore. So I've always felt like school board members should have 2 things happening. Number one, they should live in the district. Number 2, they should have a kid in the district. I won't fit that criteria here. By the time my school board, I would be outside of that criteria while I was still on the school board. Number two reason why, dude, I've watched the school board meetings. I'd make headlines because I would openly laugh at these people. Not the school board members. The people that come and talk at the school board meetings, dude, it's laughable. You watch these things and it's like, holy cow. You wonder why it's in the position it's in. Because it is a constant pat on the back echo chamber. You guys are great. You're doing wonderful. You love the kids. These people that are voting no, they don't love the kids. They don't. So you instantly shut people's brains off with that stuff. It's a conversation ender when you say things like, well, I'm voting yes for the kids. What do you mean? We have a 72% graduation rate. You're not voting for the kids. You're voting for the system. You're voting for the bureaucracy. That's all you're voting for. This thing of like, well, I got to make sure that my property taxes don't, or my property value goes up. Your property value will go up. Maintain your home.
That's the key, number one. Maintain your home. Don't have a shithole.
Don't have a shithole. And then, by the way, the schools will help, but money ain't the fix. Money ain't the fix. It's the people. It's the people. And we've also fallen into this trap lately of like, well, we fired our NBA coach because he was Chauncey Billups. So you know what we should do? We should get somebody within the same system No, they don't get. They're not doing the job. They're not getting the job done. We need to change things up and do a little bit of a background check and some Google searches on a person before we hire them. Ian Roberts, by the way, this grade fixing thing and shoving kids through, this is something that he was doing in Baltimore as well. They've come out and said, hey, by the way, we've had a lot of teachers stand up and say Ian Roberts was forcing him to push kids through. The superintendent. And then I put that article out, and I've had teachers reach out to me and say, hey, that same thing happened to me. I had kids that didn't show up for class. And when I went to fail him, the principal and an athletic director walked in and said, hey, you know this kid's like our second best basketball player? What?
Well, in sports is important, but it's not that important. Right?
I mean, accountability.
Thank you.
Accountability.
I was going to say that two things that really make education work. The people who we all have teachers in our life that were influential on us, but also accountability. Accountability by parents, accountability by teachers, by administrators. There's a whole bunch of things. I mean, you can't go through life and you can go to a sports team. Great sports teams, their coaches hold players accountable, right? Even at the professional level. Sure, these guys make a bunch of money, but I promise you, Shohei Ohtani is held accountable by Dave Roberts in some way or another. They know he's great, but you still are being held accountable in some way for your actions.
So that's it. I've enjoyed learning as much as I can here. I've enjoyed, the process. And again, it's a really hard job. This is not a knock on the teachers. In fact, if I had my way, I'd empower the teachers even more. We have these things called room clears. I think we've talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about that.
When a kid acts up, they take the good kids out and leave the bad kid in there to sometimes destroy the room. Well, that doesn't give me encouragement to give you more money and build new places, so that the kids can the bad kids can rule the roost inside of a new, beautiful building? That makes zero sense. So the accountability has to start at the top. First of all, how did we get to where we are? How did we get to a point where we're graduating 72% of the kids, and that number might be inflated?
The interesting part is we fall into these roles. Leadership is leadership to me, right? And if you can lead, if you can hold people accountable, if you can, we look at a superintendent's job as a superintendent basically is a CEO of a major organization. But we look at it like you have to have a doctorate, you have to have an education background, all that stuff. Sure, that helps, but that doesn't necessarily make you the best qualified. There are business leaders that can easily run a school system and lead and inspire. I mean, you have to think about it differently. I remember when the University of Iowa a couple years ago had a president that was not academic-based, and the academics were like, oh, my God, how can you hire somebody from the business world to run a university? Because you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar operation. You let the provost and the deans do the academic part. You let somebody who's smart and who can lead run the business part of it. You don't have to have that background. Now, that's usually a prerequisite. I'm just saying you should think differently. But I just wanted to commend you on participating in this.
Dude, I appreciate that. I really am trying. I don't just want to be. I had a friend one time say to me, boy, you're really good at throwing sand in people's faces. And I don't just want to do that. I don't mind throwing sand in people's faces when they need it, when I feel like it's needed. But I also want to have a few more answers or solutions to problems and things like that. And I'm seeing somebody in the thing talk about charter schools. Charter schools right now, if you need an outlet, if you need a place that you go, I can't put my kid. The charter school system right now is expanding and thriving in Des Moines. And there's a lot of studies that show that where a charter school system starts to be injected into a community, the public school system starts to improve. They have to. It becomes competition.
Yeah.
And that's what the school district needs, is competition. And so now you've got to get business leaders in there to start to compete, because the academic system has been overrun with activists. They've become overrun with activists, and that's
where it becomes political. Is where and everybody says, well, a superintendent job should not be political. In the old days, it wasn't, and then you get activist board members who basically a superintendent answers to a board, right? And I'm not saying a school board, but you shouldn't go in with an agenda. Your agenda should be how do we provide the best education possible. Not just education, best experience. You want and that's from a sports standpoint, that's from an art standpoint, that's from, there's so much more to education than just, math, computers, everything else. Arts, performance, sports, it's all part of a well-rounded education.
I almost sent you an article yesterday that was really funny because our East High School Alumni Association posted this thing on Facebook of a former school board member who was an East High grad, had been an East High advocate for a long time, and spent several years on the board. And she wrote an article that said, the school board is the victim, not the culprit. And I was like, there it is. There it is. Race to the victim status. If you can just claim victim status, nobody can say anything to you anymore. And part of it was, hey, we might have been paying this guy $300,000 a year, but he had nothing to do with this bond referendum. What? The superintendent who was making $300,000 a year had zero input on the direction of the district he was running?
That's false.
That might be a bigger problem.
Usually major bond referendums are led by the superintendent who says, hey, we need these things. Let's go after it. Because
they loved this guy until about 2 months ago. They loved him. He was the greatest thing since sliced bread until he wasn't. And now he wasn't even doing anything. He was just there. He wasn't even doing anything.
He didn't even work here.
He didn't work
here.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
515.
We're the victim. That's the play. Is we are the victim here, guys. Can somebody please just pat us on the head and tell us that we did a good job when 72% of kids are graduating, when the infrastructure is crumbling, when we've got salaries going crazy, when we've mismanaged build. Can somebody please just pat us on the head and tell us we've done a good job and that we are the victim in this?
515-517-2303 is the number to call. Remember to pump it up with Unleaded 88. It's grown by corn farmers right here in the state of Iowa, so pump it up with Unleaded 88. All you have to do is go to iowacorn.org to learn more. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
There's more Iowa in the Iowa Tap Room than you may realize. Housed in a building nearly as old as Iowa itself, the Iowa Tap Room greets you with a harvest of 120 Iowa craft beers on tap from all corners of the state. And the food doesn't get much more Iowa than this. The Iowa Tap Room, all Iowa beer, one amazing place.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Cheaper, cleaner, and homegrown. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the rushradio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
Why'd the car thief get caught?
Why?
He took too many breaks. Why couldn't the mechanic work on his motorcycle? Because he was too tired. What do you get when you bring your car in for service at Land Rover Des Moines?
What?
$100 off tires. Right now, through the month of October and November, we're offering $100 off select tires. No tricks here, just great deals.
You got me falling hard, sweet baby. You got me falling hard for you. And still, I felt this way before. You know it's true. And still, you got me more and more. Oh, you got me falling hard.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Ross, I don't want to be too hard on the guy because he's the greatest player in baseball, but Shohei Ohtani was a no-show last night in Game 4 of the World Series. 0 for 3 at the plate, struck out twice, walked once, took the loss as a pitcher, gave up the home run to Vlad, got to the... I find this interesting, and I want to know what's true, because I saw him the other night after the game. I think it was Game 3 that went forever, and he has the interpreter by him, right?
Yeah.
But Mark Pryor, he said, I asked him going into the 7th, how many innings he's got left. He said he got 3 innings. So I'm like, well, hold on. Is the interpreter in the dugout, or does Shohei Ohtani really understand what you're saying and talks perfect English, but just chooses not to?
He doesn't speak perfect English, but I mean, watch the New Balance commercials. He's getting it. He's getting it. Right. Dude, whole other conspiracy theory right there you're diving into, right?
And by the way, he's not the only one. I mean, you see a lot of Latin American players. I remember when I was interviewing minor leaguers, you'd be like, speak no English. And they'd go over and they're like, hey, I wanted to interview him. Yeah, but he didn't have the interpreter. Then he's over there just yapping away in like perfect English to his buddies.
Do you remember when Sammy Sosa was being asked about steroids?
Did he
and then
realize
all of a sudden he forgot how to speak English?
Doesn't understand. Now,
See, the smart ass in me, and this pisses off people. I'm sorry. Shohei still won. He took the Bluejays. I said this to buddies when they were like, in fact, our buddy Jeff Klein was like, man, this guy's amazing. He's the greatest baseball player of all time. This is incredible. And I wrote back in that group chat and I said, yeah, greatest baseball player of all time. Awful gambler and worst friend, but greatest baseball player of all time. And all my buddies were like, come on, they did an investigation. Yeah, the 9/11 Commission report came out too. So, yeah, you bet. Yeah, believe what they feed you.
And usually the truth is somewhere in the middle, like you said, right? There's one extreme, and there's probably
hard to convince people of that. It really is. When you go, hey man, I just don't believe the narrative I've been fed. They repeat the narrative to you. They go, wait, you didn't know this thing that these people said. Yeah, I've heard them say that. Now I'm hearing you say that. It doesn't give it any more credibility. It doesn't pass the smell test. No casino, no bookie, nobody that takes a bet is going to say, hey, do you have money? No, I don't. Oh, do you have a friend with money?
Yeah, that's never happened.
Yeah, I have a
that's
friend
never
of mine.
happened.
Oh, okay, then you bet. We'll take your bet here. Yeah, $130 million. That's what you want to put on this? You betcha. Because your friend can cover it? That doesn't make sense to anybody, does it? Hopefully that doesn't make sense to anybody who goes, oh, wait, yeah, right. Why would a bookie take a bet from a person when they know that person doesn't have money? They know their friend has money. Anyway.
If it's anybody but Shohei Ohtani, and getting back into the baseball and the strategy of it, and we talk about moves that managers make. If it's anybody but Shohei Ohtani, is Dave Roberts criticized for bringing a pitcher out in the seventh inning who'd already thrown 90 pitches? You had a monster marathon game the night before where probably lack of sleep, because you still have adrenaline, right? You get home, you still have adrenaline going through your body. If it's anybody but Shohei, is Dave Roberts being criticized more for not pulling him going into the seventh?
You probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And people aren't going to criticize Shohei because the guy produces on a 99.9% basis.
He's
so
the greatest baseball player ever.
Yeah. So you go, well, you know what? He just had one of those nights.
Yep.
And he was credited with 4 earned runs, and you had a 4-run seventh inning. He didn't, of course, 2 base runners got on. He gave up 2 hits right away, and they pulled him. And the Dodgers couldn't stop it there as the Blue Jays got the win 6-2, which guarantees the series is going to go back to Toronto at least for Game 6. Depends on what happens tonight. If the Dodgers and it also means, Ross, the Dodgers won't win a World Series at home. I forget what the date is, but they haven't won a World Series at home like forever, right? I mean, they've always clinched on the road. And I'm not saying the Dodgers are going to win the World Series now, but they were like, man, if you can get these wins at home, with 3, you might be able to win a World Series in front of your home crowd. Well, not going to happen. I think now this thing goes 7 games. I really do. I think baseball wants this to go 7 games.
I do.
It's been fun. This has been a good series. It's been a really, really good series.
Did John Schneider play an ultimate mind game? Okay, because after Game 3, the marathon, the Blue Jays manager came out and said in his post-game press conference, basically said, we're going to walk him every time. Because remember, he went 4 for 4, and then they walked him from the 9th inning on through that 16-inning marathon. Every time he came up, they took the bat out of his hands. And one of the reporters said afterwards, hey, is that the plan going forward? And John Schneider said, yep. Yep. Almost made it sound like we're not even going to throw the guy a pitch to hit. Was that a mind game?
I think you have to play mental gymnastics, right?
I think it was a brilliant move to come out and say, yeah, we probably aren't going to throw the guy any pitches. 0 for 3.
Struck out twice. He walked once and struck out twice.
Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty smart move by the Blue Jays manager. Whether that was intentional or not, I think he was probably just answering the question in that moment of like, yeah, from now on, if he's up in an important situation, we're going to walk the guy. He's reached Barry Bonds status, like one of our listeners said yesterday. And then you come out the next day and you deal at him. And I like that. I think it's the right thing to do.
Does Vlad get enough credit? I mean, that guy's a player. I mean, if Shohei Ohtani wasn't in the World Series and, he's been crowned the greatest baseball player of all time, and that's debatable. I mean, but right now he's one of the greatest we've seen in our couple generations. But if Shohei wasn't in here, if it wasn't, I mean, Vlad's a hell of a player, right?
To answer your question, yeah. If you don't have Shohei Ohtani doing historical stuff, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is the MVP of this World Series. And quite frankly, you still have a couple of games here. I mean, I think Ohtani is going to be your MVP. And
even if they lose the World Series, though?
No.
That's a tough one to make just because
a tough one.
Yeah.
And by the way, he would have a loss in that. He took the L last night.
No.
So can you give, boy... Yes, you can. I almost said, can you give the World Series MVP to a guy with a loss? Yeah, when he has 9 home runs in the World Series and a win, yeah, you can give him the MVP. I think right now it's probably Shohei Ohtani, but that's a great point that if he's not there, it's Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's fantastic.
Game 5 is tonight, 7 o'clock. And again, this series is guaranteed to go back to Toronto, but we got ourselves a series. The first 4 games have been good. They've been really good. You've had the marathon game that went 18 innings, and you had Toronto bounce back and win 6-2 last night. So the World Series continues to just entertain. You know, we talk about the greatest player of all time, and we've kind of anointed Shohei Ohtani that. Basketball's a different story, right? You have that conversation about LeBron, you have the conversation about Kobe, and of course Michael Jordan is always in there. Michael Jordan is now doing some things with NBC in broadcasting. When they first announced this, I didn't know what it was going to be like, Ross. I thought he was going to be at the games. I thought he was going to be interviewed. But they're very well-produced bits of excellence from Michael Jordan. And it's a sit-down with Mike Tirico, and so it's a little more polished than I thought it was going to be. I wanted some raw, instant reaction from Michael Jordan. We may get that later on in the season and when the playoffs come around. But Mike Tirico had another interview with MJ, and it's insights on excellence. I said bits of excellence. It's insights on excellence. And they asked him about load management. You and I have been very critical of load management in basketball. And you could go to an arena some night, and hell, half the team could be held out, right? And I understand it, but this answer from Michael Jordan, this is from NBC and Mike Tirico, is why I think he's the greatest player of all time. Here's what Michael had to say about load management that takes place in the NBA today. Amen, brother.
That's
amen.
Great. I mean, there is a part of me that goes, damn, that guy created enemies everywhere.
He on the top row at Auburn Hills, Piston fans, that guy doesn't like me. I've got to prove him wrong.
Right.
I'll give Michael Jordan credit. If you've watched the documentary, he's consistent. You see where his motivation is. But I also agree with him that he understands, hey, sure, I'm an athlete, but first and foremost, I'm an entertainer, and people are paying money to see me.
I love that. That is that Ted Williams thing, right? Ted Williams had the line of, every time I go out there, there's somebody that's seen me for the first time and somebody that's seen me for the last time. And, dude, I blame Greg Popovich for some of this because Pop was the first guy that was like, well, yeah, we can lose some games because we're going to win the world title. So a Tuesday in February doesn't matter to me. Well, it matters to that family. Michael Jordan's exactly right. The people that drive this thing, Greg Popovich has this aura of elitism, of you're not in the locker room, so you don't know what we're doing, which there's some truth there. But this is a transaction that's happening. This is a transaction. We are giving our time and our hard-earned dollars that we don't make millions of dollars like these guys, to take our families to these locations, to spend our entertainment dollars. You owe us. You owe us your best foot forward. Michael Jordan's exactly right. And this idea that, well, not on Tuesday. You thought we were going to actually play the best guys on Tuesday? That's your fault for going to Chicago and planning a vacation and taking your family and getting them hyped up and thinking that they're actually going to see an NBA team. No, not on Tuesday, dummy. I didn't know that Jordan was doing those. I didn't even know. I mean, I remember he had signed up that thing, and we kind of wondered. Yeah. We talked one day about that. That's
you see what I mean
cool.
by highly produced, right? I mean, but I think
keeps him in his zone.
Yes,
that's Michael Jordan in his lane right there. That's really cool.
Sorry, coughed. But yeah, you hear that. Does money play a part of the load management today, though? Because I mean, Michael Jordan made a lot of money, but the players today are making so much more money to where it really does become, we've got to protect our investment. I do believe Michael Jordan, if he was playing today, he'd be like, I don't care how much money I'm making. I'm playing because I'm just that uber competitive. I need to be on the court. That's my drive.
And not a lot of people are built like him, man. I mean, to that level, what an amazing thing for him to say. Because he starts off with like, I want to put my best foot forward for that guy up in the top row. But then it turns into, I need to shut him up. I know that guy doesn't like me. No, Michael, all those people were showing up because they loved you. That guy was showing up at Auburn Hills in the top row not to scream and yell at you. He was there because of you. He wasn't there to shut you up. But that was what his internal drive was. I'm kind of glad there aren't more people like Michael Jordan. I mean, because there's a part of him that just seems angry with all of it.
But angry, you mean angry in the load management, or just angry that's what fueled his competitiveness?
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. That's what it was the fuel for his fire, and he knew it. He still knows it, and so he continues to feed the fire. And there is a part of me that admires that as well. That level of excellence is incredible.
Let's talk about athletes that we think are like that. I think every athlete that's a professional is a competitor. I think there's a drive, but I think there's a different notch. I think Tiger Woods was like that, right? He wanted to dominate. I know it's early, but I think Caitlin Clark's like that. I really do. I think she understands. I think she's uber competitive. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
But I think she would fall into that Michael Jordan thing. She understands that she's also an entertainer. And she's watched it at Iowa. She's watched it now in the WNBA. People are there to pay money. They paid money to watch her on the bench and
cheer.
fake coach and cheer.
Fake coach. You're right. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Are there any? I mean, and that's the separation of great to greatness and everlasting greatness. And I look at Michael Jordan and I go, you don't have to like Michael, but to me, a statement like that is why it solidifies in my brain, and it's my era, why he's the greatest of all time.
Several people in the chat mentioning Kobe. Kobe Bryant had that thing. A lot like Caitlin Clark, a lot like Jordan. John Alexander, our golf buddy, says Tiger. That's another good one. They've got that fire inside of them, that competitiveness that it never leaves.
It's just a different level.
It is. It's something internal. I don't think you can teach a kid that.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, because I want to believe that everybody in some way is competitive, right? I mean, we all have different personality types. But did Michael Jordan get that from his dad? Did he get it from his mom? Did Caitlin Clark get that from him? I mean, I know mom and dad were pretty competitive, or is that just something that naturally occurs in your brain to where something switched at a certain age to where I'm just almost want to call it an obsession, right? You become so obsessed with being competitive. And you start. It would be fun to sit down with Caitlin Clark and go, Michael became great because, well, he was always great, but he manufactured the hate. Again, go back to that 10-part documentary. He manufactured hate when he was playing quarters in the frickin' locker room. He manufactured it.
He just said that guy in the top row, he hated me. He hated me. No. And all of us hear that and go, no, he didn't. No, we were all there because we loved you. This is a good one. Jamie says on the Tiger situation, whoops, sorry. Tiger wasn't competing for the fans. That's really good insight. And I think that he's right, by the way.
But was Michael competing? There's two things here. Was Michael competing for the fans, or was he competing against everybody, right? And I know what you're saying. Michael understood, according to that answer, hey, they're paying to see me. I understand I have to entertain them. But I don't know if he was competing for the fans. I mean, he made up stories.
Competing against the fans.
Yes. But he also made up these rivalries with players on the court that they said something about him. They never said anything about him. He just made up a quote in his mind and said, okay, I'm. That was his motivation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do agree. Knerf writes, it says, not everyone loved Jordan, Ross. There were and are haters. You're absolutely right. Not as many as Michael Jordan believes. Was there a guy in the top row of Auburn Hills that wanted Michael Jordan to fail? Absolutely. There was a Pistons fan up there that wanted Jordan to suck. Why was the guy in the building? To watch Michael Jordan.
If you hate Michael Jordan, I'd like to know why you hate Michael Jordan.
I mean, I can tell you, the guy's kind of a prick. I mean, look at
True.
him. He's kind of a jerk. He doesn't have a lot of friends. Doesn't seem like he wants to have a lot of friends. A lot of his former teammates are even guys in that documentary. You can see it. Guys are like, man, it's just hard to. I think it would be hard to be friends with a guy like that was so uber competitive all the time and was constantly finding things. Like, dude, at one point he's like, yeah, B.J. Armstrong. I took that personally. B.J. Armstrong's like, I thought we were buddies.
Well, you bring up another fair point that I think is worth having a discussion about. Can you be that confident without being a prick, right? I mean, you have to have a certain aura about you to where you have to take on the world in order to maintain that edge. And edge is a weird thing. There is a difference. There are levels to this shit, as you like to say.
You're right.
I mean, right. I promise you, you go to Joe Woodley, you go to Matt Campbell, you go to Kirk Ferentz, you go to every level of athleticism at the high school level. I would say even the Little League level. I promise you, you'll have a coach say, X was an amazing athlete, but what did he lack? He lacked the competitiveness.
Yeah, he lacked that fire.
Yes. When I brought in a college coach, you know, we're trying to recruit people to MCL Construction. We're like, you know, we have a shortage of people, right? And I thought, hey, let's take a recruiting strategy from a college program and say, how did you recruit the best of the best? And I've told the story here. I go, what's the first thing you look for? It wasn't athletic talent. It was competitiveness. That's why when you hear the stories of Matt Campbell or Kirk Ferentz taking a 2-star and making them a 4 or 5-star. No, they just found guys that were uber competitive and were going to outwork every single buddy on the planet.
It takes talent to have those eyes. It takes talent to have those eyes to look at a kid and see that fire inside of him. That's it, and that is something that college football coaches especially seem to kind of have. They have the ability to look at a kid and go, "Oh man, he's got that extra gear. There's that thing inside of him." Being around Grandview and being around Coach Woodley, I heard that many times and saw that. You'd go to a preseason meeting with them and they would say, "Hey, we got this linebacker, we got this defensive end, we got this D tackle, we got this safety. Like, dude, this kid's got something in him."
Let's dial it in even to a certain level. And if he's listening right now, I hope he takes this as a compliment. I think Tyler Kluver falls into this.
Oh, absolutely.
But by every means, and he said it on here, by his height, weight, everything, he shouldn't have been a Division I football player. But he said, you know what? Here's a skill I have. I'm uber competitive. I'm going to outwork guys in the weight room. I'm going to do all this stuff. Yeah. But and you hear him on here, and you can tell how competitive he is. That's what got him into the position as a walk-on and to play on a regular basis for the Iowa Hawkeyes. You're wasn't
nailing it.
Yes.
Nailing it, Trav. And honestly, there's another part of it with Kluver, and I do hope Tyler's listening, so this doesn't just he knows that we're fluffing his pillow here a little bit. There's another thing that happens that I'm going to point out with Tyler Kluver that happens with there's a humbleness about him that is hard for a guy like me to truly understand. I noticed this first with my buddy Jeff Lanning, who played professional baseball. I mean, he climbed up the ranks, never quite made it to that major league level, but Jeff was an amazing baseball player. I mean, you look at when he was a baseball player, he's one of the best 1,000 baseball players on the planet for a period of time. But just like Tyler Kluver, when you talk to a guy like that, and you say, wow, man, you were amazing. They say, no, I wasn't. You go, no, man, you're one of the best 1,000 baseball players in the world for a couple of years. That's amazing. And they go, no, there were guys better than me. There's a humbleness that comes with that. And Tyler does that all the time. I mean, like, yeah, you're right, dude. Tyler is super competitive, and he did all those things to find his way to get into a Division I roster and make the team that he wanted to be a part of. That's that competitiveness. Every time we talk to him about the weight room, he'll say, oh, dude, I was...
If you're impressed by what I do, you should
see these animals
that
I was with that were just freaks.
And probably go to your own work. Probably the ones that excel, and you could be one of them. If you go to your own work and go, why is this sales guy doing better? Or why there's a competitiveness in there to make sure that they benefit the company the best they can. You know who's uber competitive? And all you have to do is listen to him on the show. Brad Heinrichs is one competitive dude.
Yeah, that's why he gets to where he is in business.
Yes, 100%. But also there is humility there. But you know what? Also Tyler is he's humble, but he's also a little cocky. He's got a little swagger to him, and that's perfectly okay. You've earned that right. But that's also kind of an edge that you have to have mentally in a competitive world.
Can I give you another cliche that applies to all of this? Comparison is the thief of joy. If you compare yourself to other people, it's easy to get humbled. If you look at one metric, like for Jeff, when Jeff gets that humble feeling about him, what he's doing is he's robbing some of that joy in that comparison thing. He's comparing his level to somebody else's, and he's going, man, I wasn't quite there. I was right here. I was a 9.5, and I wanted to be a 10. And I see that with Kluver. I see that in business all the time. I see where people, dude, in real estate, we have real estate agents that sell 80 homes a year, and they will tell you, here's what I do, here's how I do it, and then they'll say, but man, I still ain't happy because by doing this, I've robbed myself from the work-life balance. Yeah, I'm making a lot of money, but that doesn't scratch me where I itch.
No,
and so it's a weird thing, man, to have that comparison.
515. Yes, it does. 515-517-2303 is the number to call. When we come back, we're going to be talking some Iowa State football, some news from the Arizona State camp yesterday that maybe Cyclone fans will be happy about, and also hear from Lane Kiffin. He had a nice reaction to Brent Venables. You can like Lane Kiffin. I mean, he's a different cat, man, but he's always fun to listen to. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
The Rush Radio is now on the free TuneIn app, allowing you to enjoy the show on Apple products and Android Auto. Download the free TuneIn app and search The Rush Radio to take Travis and Ross wherever you go.
You've got enough on your plate, so when it's time to reset, grab a Fresca. Bold citrus, zero sugar, zero caffeine. Just clean, crisp refreshment that never goes out of style, whether it's post-work, post-gym, or just a break from the noise. Fresca's got your back. Pick up a Fresca at your local retailer today.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
Hi, I'm John Linares with Willis Lexus, and fall is upon us. If you've been thinking about getting a new ride, now is the time. We have interest rates as low as 3.49 on select models. We have a $469 per month lease on ES Hybrid, and we have early deals on 2026 models that are just arriving. You can see our great inventory at willislexus.com, but I invite you to stop in and visit with our sales consultants for more details. Your new Lexus is waiting for you.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on the RushRadio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
A fuel choice that even rivals can agree on? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with unleaded 88.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to be with you on a Wednesday. Is it raining where you're at, Ross?
Let me check.
Well, he's checking to see if it's raining outside. Thanks for listening on the audio stream at therushradio.com and the Rush Radio Android app or the TuneIn app. If you're watching on YouTube this morning, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Start leaving your comments in the comment section. And follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Weather report from Ross Peterson. We're going outside to the helicopter.
It's raining.
It's raining.
Thanks, Ollie.
I still haven't turned on the heat in the house. Still haven't turned on the heat in the house. No heat in the house yet. And the crazy thing is, my studio used to be the coldest room in the house. Owen, in his amazing job in this room, we put insulation up in the ceiling. We put insulation on the walls that was never there. This is like the most comfortable room in the house. And so I go to Anjanette last night. We're going to turn on the heat. She's like, nah. So still no heat in the Justice household. All I hear is savings.
Dude,
Savings.
I've told you, if I wouldn't have, I walked into the living room a couple days ago and I was like, oh, it feels so good in here. It feels so, and I looked at the thermostat and it was 61. And I'm like, I had that thought of like, you have a little girl, dude. You turn on the freaking heat for your daughter.
I asked Anjanette, I go, what's the breaking point? She goes, I think we can get it down to 56. I said, once it hits like 56 in the house. I went outside yesterday to let the dog out. I go, it's warmer outside than it is in my house.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Good for you.
No, I do. You know, Owen's one of these guys that will sleep with the windows open like when it's 30 below outside.
Yeah.
I do sleep better when it is chillier in the house. I don't know what that is, but I do sleep better when it's colder and not warmer. Now, I don't know if there's a correlation there or not, but and a lot of people tell you it's healthier too. But, yeah. Iowa State, of course, is playing Arizona State this weekend. Arizona State has lost 2 of its last 3 games. Iowa State comes into this game having lost 3 in a row. Cyclones going to be a 7.5-point favorite. I think a lot of that has to do with Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt, who will not be playing this weekend, which, you know, if you're a Cyclone fan, you're like, yeah, that guy's out because he's a hell of a quarterback. Now, as somebody who wants to watch a really good football game, you want the best players out there to be a part of it, right? I mean, I do. I mean, I like to see the best players.
But as a fan, I think, right, if trying to put myself in the shoes of being an Iowa State fan, I'm okay with this.
Yes.
Got to get W's, got to get things right. I don't care if it's against the B team, the C team, the gray team. I don't care. Got to have a W to I mean, you know, I get the cynical response to that is, what are we playing for now? What are we playing for? We're playing for the right bowl game. Like somebody said, you're playing for a warmer weather bowl game now.
You're playing for not playing on December 17th instead of playing December 31st, right?
You're playing to not. I mean, to get close to what that expectation was for the season. It's not you're not going to come close to that high water mark that you were hoping for of making the college football playoff. But, man, right the ship here a little bit. Get these wins over these teams you're supposed to beat. And, again, as a fan, I don't really care if it's the starting quarterback or the backup quarterback. I just need a win.
Well, and not to be unfair to players, right? Because when you say, hey, what are you playing for, a different warmer weather bowl game? And that is fan speak. And
Yes.
just hear me out. Because we were just talking about competitiveness before we started this. These players, if you're competitive, you're playing to win, right? I mean, they understand that they're not going to make the college football playoff. They understand that. They understand they're not going to win the Big 12 championship. But that doesn't change the fact that you want to win the
Every
football
time you
game.
go out. Yep, doesn't matter who's over there. If you want to win, that's a great point. And Burger McChick says, what are they playing for? Pride and each other.
Yes.
And Tyler Kluver would tell us that too. Like, man, inside the locker room, it's not about those things. It's about
a fan perspective and a player coach perspective are two totally different things. They're two different worlds, and they're okay. They always have been that way. You're never going to separate the fandom from actual reality. Now, the good news for Iowa State fans, and I'm going to pick on a kid here, but he's in his 6th year of playing college football. So I figure you're a grown man once you've hit your 6th year of college football. Jeff Sims will be the quarterback for Arizona State. Jeff Sims is kind of a journeyman. Started at Georgia Tech, went to Nebraska, was a starter at Nebraska, and then has been at Arizona State the last couple of years. He is a really good athlete. He's a turnover machine. This is going to be an opportunity for the Iowa State defense to really rattle him. When he gets rattled, he makes mistakes. You want to he'll fumble the football. Has been prone to. He's a hell of a runner. You get him in a throwing situation. It hasn't been as bad the last couple of years, but he hasn't played as much. When he was the starter at Nebraska, when he started at Georgia Tech, the big knock was, man, the guy just turns the football over. Just prone to it, right? You could be a great athlete, but his one deficiency was he'd throw a pick or he'd fumble the football. Here he's being thrown into a starting situation, and I think the Iowa State defense, if they can rattle him, will force him into turnover situations. So, again, 6th year. Crazy that we're talking about a 6th year of eligibility.
My favorite word that you use, and again, I'm all for guys finding their right space. I'm all for guys being able to transfer. I'm all for the players getting paid and having more freedom and all that. It is funny when you can call a guy a journeyman in college. I mean,
we're going to see a lot more of it too, right?
Yeah, right. Right. He's been with 3 decent universities. I mean, the kid
started he started at Georgia Tech, he started at Nebraska, and now he's starting at Arizona State. So it's not like you have a journeyman who's going around looking for a place to play but never finds anything but mop-up duty. You have a guy that was a starter as a freshman and a sophomore at Georgia Tech. Then you have a goes to Nebraska and starts, and then transfers to Arizona State, where he's been the backup, but now thrown back into the starting role because of Sam Leavitt getting hurt. So,
is my computer still on Vegas time, or is it a noon kickoff on Saturday?
Well, that would be an 11 kickoff, I believe.
Yeah, so it's okay.
That right. Eastern time
12,
zone.
I'm like 12 o'clock kickoff.
I believe it's 11
on
Central.
TNT HBO Max.
Yeah.
Okay.
As some people say, I saw this. TNT picks up the games that nobody else wants. Well, there's so many. Who cares? You're on television. It is noon?
It is noon, apparently.
Wow.
Okay. Noon Central. Thanks,
Noon
Coach.
Central. Okay.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So what we'll do is we are going to have a black and gold rush on Saturday. I know I was not playing, but Ross and I, when we decided to do the black and gold rush, we said, hey, we don't want to change what we did. We always did them during off weeks during Iowa. But we'll probably go right after the Iowa State game, and we won't call it a Cardinal and Gold Rush. It'll still be a black and gold rush, but we'll have something fresh to talk about with Iowa State after that. So if you're an Iowa State fan and haven't listened to the black and gold rush, we'll be talking about a lot of college football that day, including the Iowa State game, which probably wrap up around 3:30, and we'll go for about an hour maybe. And if it goes longer, it goes longer. But we're planning on going an hour, but we can go longer if needed because nobody there telling us to get off the air. We control our airspace is like we have to say. A guy that's the hottest coach in college football right now, without a doubt, is Lane Kiffin. I actually feel sorry for Lane Kiffin. I feel sorry for his players because everybody, Ross, has Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss. It's like, well, is he going to LSU? Is he going to go to Florida? It doesn't matter. He's going to go. This is why I hope he stays at Ole Miss, just so everybody goes, wow, what's he doing? I mean, and he can't control that narrative.
I would love for him to stay there. I really would. I think that it would be really cool if in 10 years we look at Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss like we look at Nick Saban at Alabama. And I'm not saying I'm wishing that Ole Miss has some sort of dynasty.
Yeah.
What I mean is I hope he breaks this cycle of that 5-6 year thing. You get about 4 or 5 years and people seem to look around and go, okay, we don't want to do it with this guy anymore. And I have, from a 10,000 foot view, I've seen Lane Kiffin kind of change. I've seen Lane Kiffin be humbled a little bit by some of these things. And I like this new Lane Kiffin. I didn't like Lane Kiffin with USC. I didn't like Lane Kiffin with Alabama. I didn't like the young up-and-coming cocky guy.
And he's still cocky. Let's not confuse that. But there's something about the delivery. There's something about the delivery. We're going to see it in a second. The only thing that I think that would force him out of Ole Miss, and it's sad that he was talking about this during his press conference, because Ole Miss has possibly the greatest tailgating in the country with the Grove. I mean, they wear their seersuckers, they wear their bow tie. I mean, it's an experience. But he's still talking about, hey, hopefully the fans come. Hopefully they sell out the stadium. Hopefully, they stick around, because a lot of them leave at halftime, don't come back. I think and don't kid yourself, coaches pay attention to that, right? I mean, how you can win someplace, but hey, are you going to throw all your support in here and give players the support they deserve when you're the number 8 team in the country? Are you going to stick around and sell a stadium out? You shouldn't. I mean, the stadium only seats 60, 65,000 people. It's not like you're talking about, now it's not a big populated state in Mississippi, but you're close enough to Memphis. You have enough graduates in Memphis that can influence. They have money, but it's little things like that where a coach goes, we can't even sell out a game for X. When if you're the number 8 team in the country, I don't care if you're playing the Sisters of the Poor, you should be selling out every single game if you're ranked that high. Now, of course, Ole Miss is coming off a win against Oklahoma. They went to Oklahoma. They won the football game. And Lane Kiffin had his news conference yesterday, and he was asked about what Brent Venables said after the game. Brent Venables, the head coach at Oklahoma, thought Oklahoma was the better team. Said, you know what, well, I thought we had the better team. And Lane Kiffin, being Lane Kiffin, gives a Lane Kiffin answer.
Curious as your thoughts following the game. Coach Brent Venables said you felt like he had the better team. Just your overall thoughts on that.
That's an interesting take. That's a hot take. You have a better team. I wouldn't have thought that people watching would say that. I felt that we won at their place in weather that as a defensive head coach you would normally wish for, and won by 8 points. And I think we left a lot out there. I think we should have won by a couple scores. So I don't know how he evaluated that game, that they were the better team. I mean, we had way more yards, 21 first downs to 14, and we played, 87 plays of offense, and they had 1 sack and didn't force any turnovers. That's a interesting take, but whatever he needs to say.
And also following up to road trips
maybe
to Georgia.
Maybe they had the better team last year too when we beat them. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Following up on the road against Georgia.
Maybe you had the better team in Oklahoma when we beat them 55-19 in the national championship. Maybe you had the better team at Clemson when we beat them 45-40 in the national championship at Alabama. Next question, my bad.
I like that.
There would be some people who go, that's the most arrogant thing ever. But he keeps receipts.
I mean, that's just spouting some fact there. He could have, could have stopped at any point there, but
I actually thought it was calculated when he let him get in the next question. He goes, well, what about the national championship game? And then next question, well, what about the Clemson? I mean, it was just like, it's like, oh, I'm punching you. Oh, I'm not going to let you up. You haven't tapped out yet. I'm going to keep punching you.
I like what he said there with whatever he's got to say. Whatever he's got to say. Because that's what it is. When a coach says that, I hate that thing because fans do it too. When you lose a game, we hear it on Sound Off a lot. Lose a game and the guy go, man, we were the better team today. I've said it. There are times when you watch your team and you go, man, could Iowa State fans look at the BYU game and say that? I mean, you make a couple of mistakes. There's a few plays that happen that change the outcome of that game. I mean, there are times when you can look at a game and go, man, the way we lost that, I feel like we were the better team.
I'll give you an example. I live it here. And I think what he did is back it up by saying, well, look at the total yards. You didn't I mean, statistically, it didn't make sense. I deal with my buddy, Dr. Rob, all the time, who brings up the Iowa-Nebraska game last year. Now, if you look at the time of possession, you look at the total yards, you look at everything, statistically, sure, Nebraska was the better team against Iowa last year. But they didn't win the football game, so therefore you weren't the better team. The better team wins the football game.
Yep. 99.9% of the time, it's hard to say, hey, we were the better football team, even though we lost that game. Lost the football game, but we're the better football team. I've said it, and I can't fault a coach for saying it because I think what the coach is speaking to the fans, the players. He's not speaking to truth. He's not. If you sat Brett Venables down and had a couple beers with him and said, "Hey, what happened with Ole Miss?" He'd say, "They kicked our ass. They kicked our ass, and they kick our ass every time I play that guy." But you say that, I think, to the fans. You say that to your team. Maybe you say that to yourself a little bit.
Yeah, because you got to validate yourself. Because if you go, man, we were not the better team.
You can slide that accountability a little bit by saying, oh, man, I've got the guys right where I need them. If we could just get that ball to bounce the way that we need, if we could have just got that call, if we wouldn't have made that one mistake. What a great response from Lane Kiffin. I do like the guy, man. Again, there's something, is there a confidence, a cockiness about
Absolutely.
that? Yes, but it also is, you can't deny any of it. He doesn't say anything there that you go, well, that's his ego getting in the way. That's a fun answer. I like it.
And it also shows the brain of a coach, right? How we've said this about almost all the great coaches have memories that are amazing. The fact that he was able to spout out the final scores, I can barely tell you who won a game last week. The fact that he knew the final scores of the Clemson game years ago, the Oklahoma game going way back, you're like, okay, I'm going to show you my encyclopedia of a mind and keep going. And it started with, maybe you thought they had a better team last year when we won too. Again, polarizing, and just know, Florida, LSU, or anybody else who wants to hire Lane Kiffin, that's what you're getting. That is what you're getting. He's almost like the new Mike Leach, but in a completely different way. You're like, let's just sit back and listen to what Lane Kiffin has to say. Let's just listen to what Lane has to say.
Trav, I like that. I like that a lot. I think that you're right. Mike Leach is such a strange bar. You know what I mean? He's such a strange comparison because he was just such a unique character. But who's the best character in the coaching world right now? I think you're right. It's Lane Kiffin. Those sound bites are not. You're not going to be. But he can get goofy. He can be silly as well. He's not.
He was being silly there, but he was being silly on purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And how about this? Because I saw Ben write this in. PJ Fleck admitted that they got spanked over the weekend.
Because they did.
And he came out and said, man, we got beat there.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people kind of turning the page on PJ Fleck, dude. And I mean, like, I've seen a lot of Hawkeye fans who used to just hate the guy and bag on him say, oh, he's not that bad of a coach. Is that one of those things of you're glad he's at one of your rivals?
That, and we talked about it a little bit on Monday, and we talked about it on the Black and Gold Rush over the weekend. I think people like it when you embrace a tradition. And when he brings his team out, and they've said that every time PJ Fleck appreciates the Wave more than any other school in the Big Ten, I think you go, okay, he's not a bad guy. He gets it, right? And the truth is, much like Lane Kiffin, when you first see it, you're like, oh, I'm sick of you. Like you said, you didn't like him at USC. He's changed a lot, and he's talked about it in his documentary. But I think the more it's around, the more you become immune to it, and you start looking at different things. You go, okay, maybe he's not that bad of a guy.
There's a couple good things coming in on the chat here, but before we move off of Lane Kiffin, dude from Iowa nails it. That's anecdotal data, Ross. Still not a fan of PJ Fleck. And that's true. That's one. These are a couple of my friends that have said, I'm kind of turning the page on PJ. I kind of like this guy. I think you might have hit it right, because Lady Sideburn says, "Don't get me wrong, PJ's still dumber than a box of turds."
So there you go. Point, counterpoint.
All right. So John asks this question. I think this is a fun one. How do you think Ferentz or Campbell would have answered that question? If
I don't think they would have answered it.
Yeah, I think that Kirk Ferentz probably would have said, "Oh, that's interesting that he would say that." I think that both of them probably would have found a way to kind of excuse it. I can hear Matt Campbell and Kirk Ferentz both saying, "Yeah, I can see why a coach could watch that game and say that."
Because Matt Campbell and Kirk Ferentz don't want to be lightning rods. Matt Campbell's very, very precise, and watch him talk. He's thinking 5 words ahead before he even says it.
Yeah.
Kirk Ferentz is just a seasoned veteran, and they're both veterans at this, but they don't want to become lightning rods. You know what Lane Kiffin doesn't care about? Being a lightning rod. He doesn't care. And maybe that likability of PJ Fleck, maybe your likability of Lane Kiffin is you finally go, oh, this isn't a stick. He's
genuine.
He's genuine. Yeah. He's being vulnerable to it. That is a sense of vulnerability to where you're like, this is who I am. Like it or not, I'm not going to change. And I think when you first meet somebody like that, I mean, how many times, Ross, before you really met me, you're like, this guy's just doing what he does on the radio because he's trying to make points. Then you see me around my wife and your kids, like, oh, he's really like this.
He's just a jerk all the time.
Gee, thanks. Appreciate that. No, but I think once you realize that it's not an act, it's not a gimmick, it's genuine, you go, okay. Then you go, I can appreciate a guy a little bit more.
That's a great point. I think you're right. Yep. People talking about Kurt Cignetti in the chat right now, too. The Driftless Iowan says, hey, Indiana's coach has that stoic confidence. Rodney just wrote in, Cignetti fits into this conversation.
And I think for a little bit, you were maybe Cignetti's been one to jump on board a little faster with, because at first you're like, man, this guy's a jerk. Google me, and then it's pretty consistent, and you're almost and some people you can spot genuineness faster, and I actually think if you watch Cignetti, he gets a sly smile every once in a while, so it humbles him a little bit. Again, it's back to that competitiveness. It is. I'm very confident in who I am. I want to win in the worst way, but I also think he laughs at himself a little bit, or he understands. But right away, people like, and I think it was right away with Cignetti, like, dude, you're at Indiana. What are you doing? You're at Indiana.
Yeah.
Then when you reel off as many wins as you have, you go, oh. Okay, this guy's for real. This guy's genuine.
I think that's you're nailing it there, Trav. When he first showed up and he's saying that stuff, I was like, dude, you're Indiana. Slow down. And now you watch it and you go, oh yeah, I get it now. I get it. Did you see the thing, Trav, about the first thing he bought when he got his big contract extension?
No.
It's so funny. He bought new living room furniture, except for his recliner. He kept his old recliner. He says that stays.
You know why? Because if you have a good bed or a good recliner, you like that comfortable fit. You're like, I'm not getting rid of this thing. No way am I going to get rid of this thing.
Austin's got a good take, too. He says, Campbell and Ferentz are a lot like your average politician. Kiffin and I think Kurt Signetti, they got a little bit of Trump in them.
There's some truth to that.
They got a little bit of that. I'm going to give you the middle finger, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Hey, don't forget Halloween is coming up. Want to hear something scary good? The Iowa Lottery already launched their holiday scratch and Instaplay tickets. That's right, holiday-themed scratch and Instaplay tickets are here, so you can start thinking about the gift that keeps on giving all season long, and that's cash. So get your stocking stuffers and become a VIP club member, because they're going to be giving away $1 million in total cash prizes coming up. Go to iowalottery.com. Ross, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go from a dressed grandpa high school teacher. You're going to get a construction worker in full, PPE gear right now. So Owen's going to step in for me for the last half hour. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
She's on the 17, the 45, the 29, and she scores big cash prizes from the Iowa Lottery by matching her numbers to the winning numbers on the new Iowa Blackout Scratch ticket. Now she's entering for a chance to win an Ironman Suite experience at Kinnick Stadium, plus other fun VIP prizes. That's the best touchdown dance I've ever seen. Make the biggest play of the season today. Enter and see rules at ialottery.com/VIP.
My name's Gary Presnell, and I'm a residential home mortgage banker for Northwest Bank in Des Moines Metro Market. I've been financing people's homes for over 25 years, and I'm an expert in financing VA loans, FHA loans, IFA loans, and new construction homes. This is my cat Norm. Norm knows football, but he doesn't know mortgage, and that's where I come in. There are a lot of Tom, Dick, and Norms out there doing loans. So don't just trust anyone with your home loan. I'm your local, trusted, experienced expert.
Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You like listening to Travis and Ross talk about the Hawkeyes, so tune in when they talk about everything else. Listen to The Rush with Travis and Ross every day on therushradio.com, YouTube, the TuneIn app, and wherever you get your sports content.
That was fast. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. You are dressed up for a cold day out in the out in the elements, aren't you?
Yep, I am.
What are you working on right now? Anything fun?
Car dealerships.
That sounds kind of interesting. Like, we spend a lot of time at Willis.
Yeah.
Dude, the construction inside of those places is different. You have to, like one of the things I've learned about is like their oil storage things. You know what I mean? They have to have all sorts of EPA stuff to make sure, because, man, cars leak a lot of fluids.
Yeah.
And is that stuff that is in your jurisdiction, your job duties?
I mean, I don't know too much about it. I know we have a little building off to the side that is labeled like some sort of store. Well, there's also a new element to it. We have battery storage areas for electric cars.
Yeah, because those can, yeah,
they can like explode or something. And then there's also storage areas designated for oil and fluids and stuff like that. So
my buddy was explaining in fact, it was Jason Willis that was explaining to us that when they work on electric cars, I don't know if it's all the time or some of the time or occasionally, they have to have a guy stand by with a big hook. Seriously. In case the technician gets electrocuted, a guy can
they'll grab him
and pull him off the battery. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They got to basically wear space suits when they go to work on these cars because it's got to be a perfect environment and all that. It is, it's something to behold, man. I'm glad that we went. Travis and I, your dad and I, are going to be there on Saturday again doing some stuff with them. But going to that new car show that they had was super cool, man. You get to walk through all the stuff. It's incredible. It's not like the old mechanics, dude. You know, when I was a kid and you went to that corner mechanic, you walked in and you were greasy.
Right.
You walked in, you could feel the grime and the dirt. And there was something about it that was like, yeah, I'm in the right space. This is where cars get fixed. Now you walk into these places and it feels more like a surgery center. Like they are that, especially at Willis, dude. It is, you could eat off the floor.
Yeah.
At the dealership. It's wild how clean it is and just how much technology goes into it. What a cool thing that you're getting to see the underbelly of all that. What's going on with the band?
Well, you know, during football season, we kind of take a little break because people don't go to shows really. If you book a show on a Saturday night, the times we used to do it, they'd be huddled in the corner with a phone watching whatever game was on at the time.
There,
so,
dude. I've been there, honestly, now that you say that. I've done that. That exact thing.
We usually kick it back up live show-wise after the first of the year. But it's a good time to just work on other stuff with the band. So hopefully we can get some of that going. Maybe new music getting put together and stuff like that. So
you're working on like a new album or
trying to get it's in its infancy, but we're trying to get it started.
So no shows booked right now for a little while?
I have like solo acoustic stuff I do. Just when like a venue reaches out, I'll do that. It's good to keep a relationship going with venues and you know, whenever they need me to open up for somebody, I'll do it for sure. But other than that, no like full band shows or anything.
I was kind of surprised when we were in Ireland a couple weeks ago. We ended up at this Irish pub, and the Irish national team was playing against Portugal in soccer at the time for a World Cup qualifier. So a lot like a Saturday night show where most of the people there were watching the game. But I loved the musician. There was two musicians. They were both fantastic. One of them was this young Irish gal. She reminded me a lot of the lead singer of the Cranberries, Doris. What's her name? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But at one point, the guy I'm with, Patrick, goes up to her and he's like, hey, can you play Van Morrison? Now, Van Morrison's from Ireland. And she's like, can you play Van Morrison? Can you play Into the Mystic? The girl didn't know it. She was like, oh, yeah. She's like, I can do it, but I gotta like get it up on my phone. I don't know if she had some sort. So do you ever have people request songs that you don't know and then you have to kind of figure it out? Or if somebody does that, do you just say, no,
okay, this is that's so, yeah. What we do, so say this happens to me all the time. Now, the way we play shows, I mean, we'll do 3-hour sets, but it's our set. If you request a song and we happen to have it, I'll play it next, but I'm not going to fumble around with a song I don't know. So people will come up to us, you know, especially if they're drunk and they're like, hey, can you play this? Yeah, up next. It's coming up next. You just keep saying that till the show's over.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, we'll get that one. That's coming up.
That's an old DJ trick.
Yeah.
That's an old, when I DJ'd weddings, because a bride would come to you and be like, listen, I don't care what happens, do not play the Macarena.
Right.
I don't want to hear the chicken dance. Or so, like they would have these do not play lists. And inevitably you'd have, you know, the mother of the groom would come up and go, hey, I'm paying part of the bill here, so you need to play the chicken dance. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What do I do now? You listen to the bride.
Yep.
You listen to the bride, right? Do you ever have people that say, listen, you can play your music, but don't play such and such?
No, never.
Yeah,
That's never happened.
That would suck. That would suck.
Yeah.
Anything that you have you been paying attention to the World Series at all?
You know, I have not. I don't even know who's in it. But you know, Ross, I'm not.
I love it.
I'm not such a
dude,
sports watcher.
Honestly, that's why I asked you, because I was wondering how much this had kind of permeated culture, right? And I think you're probably one of the best sources that we have for things like that. Like, dude, I'm a baseball junkie, and it took me a long time to get into these playoffs. It really, I'm like, baseball has just kind of fallen off of my radar even. So I'm not glad to hear you say that. Certainly the baseball fan in me and the sports fan in me wants this to be a bigger deal than it is, but I think you saying that says a lot. Dude from Iowa is saying it in the chat. That tells me everything you need to know about the future of baseball. That you even played baseball. You like baseball.
I love baseball. Yeah, but I don't keep up with anything like that.
It's the Dodgers and the Bluejays.
Oh, nice.
Do you know who Shohei Ohtani is?
Yes.
Okay. He's been fantastic. Last night he wasn't, but he's been like unbelievable. He's the greatest baseball player of all time. He's put together some of the greatest performances of all time, and it's a shame that it's kind of lost. Again, I'm glad you told me that because it's a shame that it's kind of lost in the ether of stuff.
I'll tell you this. I went to a Padres game in September. I was in San Diego. My girlfriend's from San Diego, so we went and visited her family and went to a Padres game. And they're a lot better. Like, baseball games to me used to kind of, like, after an hour and a half, 2 hours, I was pretty much over it, and we were in, like, the 7th inning. But now I feel like, I don't know if it's just a mixture of getting older a little bit, but also with the pitch clock and certain things that speed up the game a little bit, it is definitely a lot more enjoyable just to sit and watch a baseball game for me. I don't do it when it's on TV, and maybe I should now that I know it's not like a whole.
Yeah, it's not a 4-hour commitment. Well, the other night it was a 6-hour commitment.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was an 18-inning game in the World Series. So it wasn't a normal game. That stadium in San Diego is super cool. When I went there, it was Petco Park.
It still is Petco Park.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought they'd changed the name. I didn't know Petco was a thing anymore.
I was surprised by that, too. I was like, oh, there's still Petco? I didn't realize that.
That stadium is super, super cool, though. I saw a Mets-Padres game there to open the season back in, 2008, probably, something like. Well, it was before that, 2005.
Well, the whole thing for me is awesome because her parents live on Coronado, which is just a little, almost like an island right off the.
It is an island, right?
Yeah, it is right off the side of downtown there. So when we want to go to a Padres game, we just walk down to the and from a landlocked person, this is like mind blowing to me, but they don't really think anything of it.
I'm with you.
We walk down to a ferry and get on a ferry and go across the bay and then walk straight over to Petco Park. I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever done. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Dude, it's amazing when you're around people that, so like this last week, I was in Las Vegas and I got to play this unbelievable golf course called Cascada. It's up in the mountains in Las Vegas. It was just breathtakingly beautiful. Couple of weeks ago, I'm in Ireland. You're on the coast. I try to explain this to people. As a landlocked kid in the Midwest, man, seeing mountains, that's so cool.
Right.
But then when you're with somebody who sees them every day, it is lost. Several times I'm standing on a tee box just looking around. They're like, hey, you're up. I go, I just want to soak this in. They're like, what are you looking at brown rocks? Are you that impressed with brown rocks? Do you guys not have brown rocks in Iowa? I go, not like this.
Yeah.
Not like this. And then that's the other, when you're in Ireland and you're like, oh my gosh, walking along the ocean, they're like, well, what happened? We were walking along the ocean. Well, yeah, but what did you see?
Yeah.
The ocean?
Yeah.
Saw the ocean. And I always would tell people, I go, okay, America, I live here.
Yeah.
I live right in the middle. This is totally a different world for me.
Yeah, I think it's funny because, like, Lizzie, my girlfriend's parents, like, we'll say we're going to the beach, and they're almost, like, annoyed by that notion. Like, oh, you're going to get sandy, and, like, then you get sand everywhere. Like, why do you even want to do that?
Have you been to a lot of Major League parks?
Let's see. I've been to, what is it, Kauffman?
Oh, yeah,
in Kansas City. I went to whatever the one in Washington, D.C. is.
Well, it used to be RFK, but was it the old Dome or was it the Nationals' new stadium?
It would have been their new stadium, I'm sure.
I've not been there. I went to RFK when that was where the Redskins played too.
Gotcha.
It was
This was just a couple of years ago, and I thought it was really nice, and the area it was in was really cool too. That kind of makes it as well to me. And And then I'm trying to think, what's the one in St. Louis? Busch
Stadium, yeah.
I know I've definitely. I mean, we went to Baseball Village and did that whole thing.
Okay.
I can't remember if we actually went to a game there or not.
Man, that's but you so the when you said Busch, I mean, it could have been that you'd gone long enough back that they didn't have Ballpark Village. That entire experience is different now in Busch Stadium, and I think that most stadiums now across the country are trying to not necessarily emulate that Ballpark Village thing, but they're definitely trying to make it more of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like more of a broad experience than just go sit at the stadium and watch the game. You've got a lot more stuff to do around the stadium. It's certainly there. It's baseball and more specifically Cardinals centric.
Right.
From the minute you get within a few acres of the ball field, you know that you're in Cardinal country. Essentially, and I think that a lot of stadiums are trying to emulate that now, and maybe that's because of Ballpark Village. Maybe there was one that they stole that idea from. That's the first one I remember. You never been to Wrigley?
No.
Dude,
and I did go to the whatever guaranteed rate. Now that I think about it, I went to a White Sox game one time.
Sox.
Yeah.
You've been to the White Sox and you haven't been to a Wrigley. That's an anomaly right there. You're a unicorn, because most people from the Midwest, if you go to Chicago and go to a baseball game, you're going to go to Wrigley. Wrigley is one of the places that is magnetic. I've kind of joked that you could, if you're within about 3 miles of Wrigley and somebody put a blindfold on you and spun you around, you could still point. There's like a draw to Wrigley Field. And when you get close to it, man, it's got a buzz about it. Like no other stadium I've ever been to. I mean, I've been to a couple great ones. Yankee Stadium and Fenway Park. They have that in a way, but there's something about the way Wrigley is built into the neighborhood. It's something about the way the neighborhood kind of shuts down when games are happening. Especially on a beautiful summer day, people have their windows open and you can hear Pat Hughes and it used to be Ron Santo, but you can hear Pat Hughes kind of echoing through the streets too with the pregame stuff. And then you go sit in the bleachers. That's an experience to have, dude. In fact, there's 2 things you have to do at Wrigley, I'd say. One is go sit in the bleachers, actually sit in left field and do the beer snake thing, take your shirt off. That's a really fun day. Beyond the bleachers or beyond the ivy, whatever the stands that are the seats you can buy on top of the apartments outside of the stadium, it's a whole different experience. It's
okay. Wait, explain this to me. So
across the street from and right field and left field, there are old apartment complexes or high-rise condos. On top of those, they have built bleachers,
like on the roofs,
on the rooftops. Because it used to be when I was a kid, Owen, people would literally sit on the rooftops with like a charcoal grill, and the broadcast would zoom in on them, and it'd be a group of dudes. It looked like a tailgate. They'd have the game on a TV. They'd have brats cooking. Well, over time, that became an entire industry, where they took each one of those buildings, they built a grandstand on top of them, and now those are premium seats. And it's an entire experience that's different. You've got like a clean private bathroom. You don't have to pee in a trough with people shoulder to shoulder with you. You don't have to worry about, because Wrigley at one point in time, Wrigley was a shithole. I mean, it was a bar that a baseball game happened to be played at.
Gotcha.
And you went there for that party thing, but the stadium was garbage. I mean, it was falling apart. They had to put up nets to catch the concrete so that it didn't fall on people.
Oh.
The bathrooms were disgusting. They were old troughs, and your dad loves a trough.
Yeah, I know.
So going at that time, going to those bleachers that were on top of the rooftops, it was a completely different experience. Now I think they've actually upgraded some of the stuff inside of Wrigley. That you don't have the falling pieces of concrete like it once was. The bathrooms have been renovated, and so it's not quite as much of a contrast as it was at that time. But it's still, those are two things that you guys should put that on a bucket list. It's just like a sports bucket list of stuff that is fun to do, and there's a cool experience. Can I ask you some really weird questions?
Go ahead.
Because I saw two stories this morning. I mentioned one of them to your dad. I didn't mention the other one to him because I mentioned it to him a couple of days ago, and it freaked him out. Do you know what 3-Eye Atlas is?
Nope.
Oh, dude. We're about to be invaded by aliens.
Oh, okay. I think I saw something scrolling by about how aliens are coming.
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming. They're going to be a couple days, I think. I think today might even be the day, something like that. They're coming, though. So just
be ready.
Yourself. Yeah.
Yep.
No, actually, it's just it could just be a giant asteroid. Giant. It's the size of Manhattan.
Okay. And it's heading right for us?
Not heading for us. It's going to fly by us here in a little while.
Oh, good.
We hope.
Yeah.
We hope fly by us. We hope it doesn't hit the brakes and decide to stop and chat for a while. But it could get there. It might be something funky. There's a lot of people that think it's wild. I didn't know. Your dad didn't know about it either, and then I freaked him out by bringing it up. All right, now I got a very personal question for you, but I promise this is going someplace. Okay,
that's all right.
You and Lizzie plan on having kids? First of all, you're going to marry this girl,
someday.
Right?
What's that?
You're going to marry this girl, right?
Yes.
You better. You better. I mean, I know your family. I know how they feel about her. They like her more than they like you. Okay?
Ain't that the truth? They've made that very clear.
You guys going to have kids?
Yeah, I think so.
Your dad would say that's because you're smart. Just so you know. Your dad would say the reason that my kids are going to have kids is because my kids are smart. Dude, people are not having kids.
True.
We have birth rates collapsing around the country. Not just in the country, around the world, dude. China's birth rate has fallen off. And I was reading an article this morning about people your age, young adults that are starting their lives. A lot of them are planning on not ever having kids. And so I was curious when I knew you were jumping in with me. I was like, oh, I'm going to get all personal with Owen and ask him what's going on in his life.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I definitely think we're going to have kids, especially now that her sister's got 2 girls and a boy on the way, and then Abigail just having a baby. Yeah. And it does, you start to get that itch a little bit.
You're not getting that, you're not quite getting that full experience yet of being an uncle?
No, because the baby is, a ways away.
A long ways away. So you don't have to do the babysitting thing. Dude, I remember being about 16, 17 years old and babysitting for the first time. I'd never been that exhausted in my life. So you need to prepare yourself. You need to go down there and spend some time with Sutton.
Yeah.
And just spend a day and then go, oh, shit, this is what I'm signing up for? It's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing ever. I encourage you to do it all, but it's it's something that you have to get into. I also saw one, speaking of being young and struggling and figuring life out. I saw this article this morning about Melinda Gates, Bill Gates' ex-wife.
Yeah.
And she was talking about keeping her daughter grounded and how difficult it is for them being, billionaires and one of the richest families in the world, how hard it was for them to keep their kid, who's about your age, truly grounded. And I think that they did a pretty good job. Jennifer Gates, their daughter, made headlines back in 2023, but her mom was just asked about it the other day, and she did say, I was just trying to keep her in the real world. Her first home, again, struggling, she got a $51 million penthouse as her first house.
Hey, just,
got to keep those kids in the real world, dude.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it.
$51 million penthouse. That's her very first home. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I want you to look up 3-Eye Atlas. I want you to. I just want you right now. So I want to see what your. I got to get your honest, true reaction to what what pops up when you put this thing in. 3i Atlas. You type in 3, it's going to auto-populate for you.
Okay, here, let me look at this over here.
Yeah. Watch his face. Watch his face.
Oh, it's only okay, here, right off the bat, it says it's only the third known interstellar object to pass through our solar system.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It's just it's not from our solar system, and it's
not from our solar system. It's come from some other place. It's hopefully just going to zip by the sun, do a little turn there, and head right back out.
It says it's not an alien spacecraft, despite some early speculation.
Yeah, it's probably
and
just
poses no danger to Earth.
I mean, that's what they want you to believe.
Yeah, we'll see about that, huh?
I love it. One of my buddies, who's just as much of a conspiracy theorist as I am, has talked about this thing, this awesome conspiracy theory that's out there called Project Bluebeam. Okay, now,
I've heard that term before.
Have you?
Project Bluebeam, yeah.
Project Bluebeam. Yeah, so a lot of people are connecting dots here and anticipating that the government, and I love these conversations. I'm sorry. There's a part of me that has to this feels like Art Bell. All right, this feels like we're doing coast to coast and taking calls from the west of the Rockies line. But there's a good conspiracy theory out there that the government's going to use this 3i Atlas thing to unleash Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam's a whole other scenario, and I'll let people do their own Googling on that, but essentially it's like the government will fake the return of the Messiah.
Oh, got you.
Buckle up, buddy. Buckle up. It's all coming to a head. Here's the thing about these conspiracy theories that I love so much, Owen, is anticipating a month from now. Because this thing's going to turn around the sun, and we're going to get pretty good images of it, and people are going to be able to see it with their own telescopes and make their own judgments. If it is just a rock, which it more than likely is,
yeah,
I always wonder how the conspiracy theorists that have been saying dude, there's a Harvard professor that has said, me and all my friends, we're taking all of our vacations before October 29th.
Oh God.
He also said, if this thing is,
I'm starting to think that maybe that you put a title on somebody like that, and it doesn't mean that much. A Harvard professor. Well, they have dumbass Harvard professors too, I guess.
Amen. Amen. Dude, I watched The Wizard of Oz. They got that great line in The Wizard of Oz. You know where I come from? They have institutions of higher learning, and people go in there and they come out of there thinking great thoughts with no more brains than you and I have.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I do wonder what happens in a couple weeks, because this guy also said, hey, if this thing's real, money won't mean anything. Hell's that mean?
Yeah. It sounds like this thing's going to pass us by, and people with telescopes are going to look at it.
You're probably right. What if it does? What if it does stop? Then what? Huh?
We'll deal with that later then, I guess.
I guess we'll deal with that when it happens. When you do this, does this disrupt your day at all? When you come in and your dad makes you sit here with me for a half hour, does it?
I just tell him I'm going to be late.
Okay.
And
you're already dressed for work.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy being late. That doesn't bother me.
Because your dad bragged to us about how warm it was in the studio, and he's like, man, Owen did such a great job down here and insulated the whole thing. It's the warmest room in the house. You show up, it looks like it's 12 degrees in that room.
Yeah. Well, I have
to see your breath.
I have to start accumulating heat, and that helps. You start building it up before you have to go outside all day.
Are you going to get down to see something anytime soon?
We don't have any plans to yet. Okay. We had kind of a busy wedding season there in September and October, and we ended up having to take a lot of days off.
Oh, you're in that phase of life where all your friends are getting married.
Yeah.
Are you getting that pressure from Lizzie?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I went through that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I went through that a lot.
That pressure from everyone.
Sorry, I didn't mean to add
you this
to
morning.
It, I promise.
No, you're fine. I
just like her a lot too. I think she's amazing, and I'm like, damn. And your dad has said to me for about 10 years, Owen screws this up, I swear to God, if he screws this one up, I'm going to be so mad at him.
Oh, man. Yeah. But.
All right. Go get him today, buddy. Hope you have a great one. Thank you so much for entertaining me for a half hour. Thanks for letting me pick your brain about weddings and kids and aliens and
baseball
a little bit. Hey, tonight's game. So right now, the series is tied up at 2 games apiece. They have been fantastic baseball games all the way through. So if you do have the itch tonight and nothing else happening on a Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening, maybe fire up that baseball game and watch a little bit of World Series. And just to see Shohei Ohtani is worth it. I mean, honestly, the guy, this is unique. The guy is special in all sorts of ways. And so, yeah, I'd encourage you, if you get a chance, if you don't have anything else going on, don't have band practice, want to stay warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, stoke up a fire, watch Game 5 of the World Series. Thanks so much for hopping on with me, buddy. I appreciate it very much. We will be back at it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Of course, you can download the podcast. We're going to be available. That'll be up in just a little while on all those podcast platforms. You can listen to it all day long at therushladio.com. Got some big announcements coming up here in the next couple of days. We're hoping for to kind of go public with a few things, so that'll be great. Keep tuned for that, and we'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. here on The Rush, therushladio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Thanks a lot.
Body Armor. Real hydration with electrolytes. No artificial dyes and coconut water. Choose better. Body Armor.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
My name's Gary Presnell, and I'm a residential home mortgage banker for Northwest Bank in Des Moines Metro Market. I've been financing people's homes for over 25 years, and I'm an expert in financing VA loans, FHA loans, IFA loans, and new construction homes. This is my cat Norm. Norm knows football, but he doesn't know mortgage. And that's where I come in. There are a lot of Tom, Dick, and Norms out there doing loans. So don't just trust anyone with your home loan. I'm your local, trusted, experienced expert.
Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
After Hawkeye football games this fall, Travis and Ross are right where they belong, with you taking your calls and giving unfiltered feedback. Right after Hawkeye football games, it's the Black and Gold Rush on therushladio.com, the TuneIn app, and on YouTube.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bobby here at Willis Volvo Cars. Fall is in full effect. There's $3,000 worth of savings on XC90 and XC60. We have sign and drive, no payment, nothing due up front. Best lease programs we have had in years. So give us a call, click, or visit us at willisvolvocars.com. Stop down to the showroom, let us lower your payment on a brand new car. You'll be glad you did.
Bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience Links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.